Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai Shri Prabhupada. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter, verse 20 to 38. अथोपस्पृश्य सलिलम् सन्दधे तत्समाहितः अजानन् अपि संहारं प्राणकृच्छ्र उपस्थिते.
Since his life was in danger, he touched water in sanctity and concentrated upon the chanting of the hymns for throwing nuclear weapons, although he did not know how to withdraw such weapons.
ततः प्रादुष्कृतं तेज प्रचण्डं सर्वतो दिशम् प्राणापदम् अभिप्रेक्ष्य विष्णुं जिष्णुरुवाच.
Thereupon, a glaring light spread in all directions. It was so fierce that Arjuna thought his own life in danger, and so he began to address Lord Sri Krishna.
Arjuna uvacha Krishna Krishna Mahabaho Bhaktanam Abhayankara Tvam eko Dayyavananam Apahargosi Samshrute.
Arjuna said, "O my Lord Sri Krishna, you are the almighty personality of Godhead. There is no limit to your different energies. Therefore, only you are competent to instill fearlessness in the hearts of your devotees. Everyone in the flames of material miseries can find the path of liberation in you only."
Adyah Purusha Sakshat Ishvarah Prakriti Para Mayam Yudasya Chikchatya Kaivalye Sthita Atmani.
You are the original personality of Godhead, who expands himself all over the creations and is transcendental to material energy. You have cast away the effect of material energy by dint of your spiritual potency. You are always situated in internal bliss and transcendental knowledge.
Eva Jiva Lokasya Maya Mohitate Chetasaha Vidhatse Svena Viryena Shreyo Dharmadi Lakshanam.
And yet, though you are beyond the purview of the material energy, you execute the four principles of liberation characterized by a religion, and so on, for the ultimate good of the conditioned souls.
Tathayam Chavataraste Bho Bharajihishaya Swanam Chananya Bhavanam Anudhyanaya Chasakrit.
Thus, you descend as an incarnation to remove the burden of the world and to benefit your friends, especially those who are your exclusive devotees and are constantly wrapped in a meditation upon you. O Lord of Lords, how is it that this dangerous effulgence is spreading all around? Where does it come from? I do not understand this.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Vedhedam Dronaputrasya Brahmam Astra Pradarshitam Naiva Samveda Samharam Pranabharupasthite.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Know from me that this is the act of son Drona. He has thrown the hymns of nuclear energy, Brahmastra, and he does not know how to retrace the glare. He has helplessly done this, being afraid of imminent death.
Nahyasyamyatamam kinchid astram pratyavakarsham Jahyastrateja unnadham astrajno hyastratejasa.
O Arjuna, only another Brahmastra can counteract this weapon. Since you are expert in the, presume this is military, I can't see because of the things covering it. Subdue this weapon glare with the power of your own weapon.
Sutta uvacha Shrutva bhagavata proktam Phalgunah paravirah Spruštva vastam parikramya Brahmam brahmastram sandadhe.
Translation. Sri Shuta Goswami said, hearing this from the personality of Godhead, Arjuna touched the water for purification, and after circumambulating Lord Sri Krishna, he cast his Brahmastra weapon to counteract the other one.
Samhatyanyonyam ubhayos tejasi ishara samrite avritya rodasikam cha vavridhate kavahnivad.
When the rays of the two Brahmastras combined, the great circle of fire, like the disk of the sun, covered all the outer space and the whole firmament of planets.
Drishtva sa tejastutayos lokan pradahanmahad dahyamanah praja sarva samvartakam amam sata.
All the population of the three worlds was scorched by the combined heat of the weapons. Everyone was reminded of the Samvartaka fire, which takes place at the time of annihilation.
Rajopatravamalaksya lokavyatikaram chatam matam cha vasudevasya samnyahararjunodvayam.
Thus, seeing the disturbance of the general populace and the imminent destruction of the planets, Arjuna at once retraced both Brahmastra weapons as Lord Sri Krishna desired.
Tata asadya tarasa darunam gautami sutam vabandhamashatam raksha pashum rashanaya yatha.
Arjuna, his eyes blazing in anger like two red balls of copper, dexterously arrested the son of Gautami and bound him with ropes like an animal.
Shibiraya nimitantam rajvabadhvari kubalat praharjun prakopito bhagavan ambujekshanaha.
After finding Asvathama, Arjuna wanted to take him to the military camp. Personality of Sri Krishna, looking on with his lotus eyes, spoke to Arjuna in an angry mood.
Mainam hasikratam brahmabandhahi yosa anadasa suttan avadhin nishibalakan.
Lord Sri Krishna said, O Arjuna, you should not show mercy by releasing this relative of a Brahmana, for he has killed innocent boys in their sleep.
Mattam parattam suttam balam striyam jadam prapannam viratham bhitam naripum hanti dharmavid.
A person who knows the principles of religion does not kill an enemy who is careless, intoxicated, insane, asleep, afraid, or devoid of his chariot, nor does he kill a boy, a woman, a foolish creature, or a surrendered soul.
Swaprananyah parapranay prapushnatyah grinah kalaha tadvadhastasya hi yaddoshadyatyadha.
A cruel and wretched person who maintains his existence at the cost of others' lives deserves to be killed for his own well-being, otherwise he will go down by his own actions.
Pratishrutam cha bhavatam panchalyeshvato mama aharishtasya yaste mani putraha.
Furthermore, I have personally heard you promise Draupadi that you would bring forth the head of the killer of her sons.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Shailaja Mataji and Luke Prabhu. Very well recited. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Antaranga Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. A warm welcome to you. Thank you for your association and for facilitating our class tonight. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhuji, I will now stop sharing my screen and I will make you the host. Is that all right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
So
I'm just about to make you the host now. Any minute now. Thank you.
okay. So everyone can see this verse for today? Okay, wonderful. So Hare Krishna, everyone. I'm very glad and happy to be again part of this wonderful Sangha. Thank you for the opportunity to speak something. So without further ado, we will go to the verse, today's verse. First of all, of course, happy Go Puja, happy Govardhan Puja. Today we had very wonderful festivities here in the Bhaktivedanta Mana. By the way, everyone can hear me loud and clear and see me. Everything is fine. Visual check, audio check, all good?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, wonderful.
Hare Krishna.
So happy Govardhan Puja. We've been very nicely blessed today in the Bhaktivedanta Mana to have a nice kind of festival in the middle of the week. A lot of people actually came and it was very wonderful. A lot of prasadam got distributed. A lot of devotees got wonderful darshan. So Hare Krishna, and so today's verse, First Canto Bhagavatam, chapter 7, entitled, I think, Son of Drona Punished, and verse 27. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Vitedam Dronaputrasya Brahman Astram Pradarshitam Naivaso Veda Samharam Prana Bandha Upastite. First of all, let me offer my respectful obeisances to all of you and to our spiritual predecessors. Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Prastha Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Paschati Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarupyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavinebhyo vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we're continuing our series and now we're looking kind of on the situation which occurred during the battle of the Kurukshetra on the battlefield. So it's quite interesting to note that just like today we have Govardhan Puja, and one of the main weapon which was basically used by Indra was kind of invoking the weapon of the Samvartaka clouds. So here we can see that there are different sort of different weapons being used even through the battle of the Kurukshetra and even through the whole Bhagavatam. There are different astras, celestial weapons which are being used. So the translation of Prabhupada says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, know for me that this is the act of the son of Drona. He has thrown the hymns of nuclear energy, Brahmastra, and he does not know how to retract the glare. He has helplessly done this, being afraid of imminent death. So there's not such a long purport. We can read the sections and kind of offer some reflections. The Brahmastra is similar to the modern nuclear weapon manipulated by atomic energy. The atomic energy works only total combustibility, and so the Brahmastra also acts. It creates an intolerable heat similar to atomic radiation, but the difference is that the atomic bomb is a gross type of nuclear weapon, whereas the Brahmastra is a subtle type of weapon produced by chanting hymns. It is different science, and in these days, in the days gone by, such science was cultivated in the land of Bharatvarsha. The subtle science of chanting hymns is also material, but it has yet to be known by the modern material scientist. So basically, in this first section, which we just read, Prabhupada established what kind of weapon it is, what is the substance, what is the trigger of such a weapon, and how this weapon basically functions. So in comparison to the modern days, in the modern days, majority of the weapons are used are fire weapons, which producing basically fire. But in the past, they've been all the different elements, all these different elements have their respective sort of the weapon. There was water weapon, there was earth astra, there was akash astra, there was air astra, and different kshatriyas have this unique power and observation that they can actually counteract, let's say, different weapons with the different weapons. So if someone
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, we can't hear you. Hare Krishna, can everyone hear Prabhuji?
No, Mataji.
No, Mataji, we cannot hear.
Let me call Prabhuji and let him know. Please bear with me.
if we may continue. As Prabhupada written here, the subtle material science is not spiritual, but it has direct relationship with the spiritual method, which is still subtle. So basically, even Arjuna, if you look at the pastimes in the Mahabharata, he received different astras, specifically, for instance, even Pashupati astra, which was given by Shiva himself, which he got satisfied in the fight with Arjuna. So the true sort of faculties or the true blessings of these hymns are actually delivered by different variety of spiritual masters. So, but one of the things which I wanted to speak about is the fact what is actually the strongest and most powerful weapon in the creation. So according to the ancient scriptures, or according to this verse, Brahmastra, Pashupati Astra, and different astras are very, very powerful weapons. But the strongest, most powerful weapon of the whole creation is actually parampara, right? The disciplic succession, spiritual master and the disciple. And let me explain this. So, for instance, our ballistic weapons, they can destroy the body. In the past, as we can read from this verse, these Brahmastra astras, very subtle weapons, they can also destroy the body, but the subtlety remains, right? The false ego, the intelligence, and mind, and that carries the soul to another body. But the Guru Parampara, the weapon, the main weapon of Guru Parampara, which is the blessings and the mercy and the holy name, ultimately can destroy everything. He can destroy the samskaras which are within the mind. He can destroy the false conceptions of who am I, the ahankar. And ultimately, this weapon of mercy and the holy name, is the weapon which can actually transport you to the spiritual realm. So this is the interesting that Prabhupada got once asked, and I think I mentioned before, is that what is the most significant scientific export of India? What India is exporting, which is the greatest scientific importance to the whole world? When Prabhupada answered Guru Parampara, that's the most scientific, most important export of India as such. And the reason because of this is that the goal of science is to basically understand the nature of the universe, but in relation with who we are as individuals or as a race or as a human species. And the goal of this science is to see what is our connection with the universe.
Hare Krishna, there's another interruption. So I'll...
So as I said, as Prabhupada was mentioning, that the greatest expert of India, the scientific expert, is Guru Parampara, because that established not only our relationship to the material world, but more importantly, our relationship to God, to the Supreme Creator, to Krishna. And in this way, this relationship, this yoga, this connection is the one which can actually takes us away from this material world, which in conclusion, this material world is a place of rather struggle. It's not always a pleasing place to be. Therefore, the greatest science is the science of Krishna consciousness. And that's what the Guru Parampara delivers. Therefore, in comparison, the greatest weapon of this modern world is actually the mercy of spiritual master, because this weapon can actually annihilate not only your physical body in the time of death, but actually can also annihilate your misconceptions about the self, and as such can allow you entry to the spiritual world, that you are the servant of the Supreme Lord. In continuation to Prabhupada's purport, but the son of Dronacharya who made use of the subtle science did not know how to retract. They applied it, being afraid of this imminent death, and thus the practice was not only proper, but also irreligious. As the son of a Brahmana, he should not have made so many mistakes. And for such a gross negligence of duty, he was to be punished by the Lord himself. So here Prabhupada is emphasizing that he understood the science how to create this atomic explosion, but didn't know how to withdraw it or even direct it. So in this way, we can see when we are pushed to the corner, when we somehow really afraid, for this human body, we do activities on many occasions which are not very dharmic, right? We accumulate wealth to take care of health, and we sacrifice health to accumulate wealth. So the real conclusion is that someone who's trained in Krishna consciousness or in dharmic activities is, first of all, he's not afraid. So one of the greatest greatest gifts of the Guru Parampara is that it makes you fearless. And even in a time of death, we are not panicking. So we can see here that son of Drona was basically panicking. He started panicking because he understood that he's losing the war. Arjuna will capture him and kill him. So in the moment of panic, because he was afraid for the body, which is ultimately not a measurement, or it's not something which is known to Brahmanas. Brahmanas they have understood that Aham Brahmasmi, I'm of spiritual nature. Therefore, this was not fitting for a Brahmana to have this sort of a fear or unnecessary creating this atomic explosion. First of all, he didn't have knowledge how to withdraw it. And second of all, he was afraid. That's why he utilized it in the first place. So that's not very dharmic. And interesting enough, Krishna utilized Arjuna in such a way to kind of counteract this Brahmastra. When I was reading 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam in the Uddhava Gita, there's a very interesting thing. When Krishna speaks to Arjuna, when Krishna speaks to Uddhava, he says, amongst many sages or very eloquent and intelligent people, I'm Uddhava. And he's speaking to Uddhava. And he said, amongst warriors, I'm Arjuna. So, and then in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the ability in man. And simultaneously he said, you fight and you accept the glory. Yet in our spiritual understanding, whatever activities, whatever occurred on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, everything was orchestrated by Krishna. He was the personality pulling all the strings. He was the one who give and allow the remembrance of son of Drona kind of release the Brahmastra, and he also gave the intelligence to Arjuna to withdraw it. So Krishna was the one who created the scenario, yet he was the ability, he was the remembrance, he was the power, and he was everything behind. So something practical for us, that we may have some abilities in our Krishna consciousness, but there's no place for a devotee to be ever puffed up. There's never a place for a devotee to think that these abilities are mine, because ultimately they come from Krishna. So in the life of predecessors, acharyas, and different devotees. There was one very interesting, when you study and read the songs and bhajans of Narottam Das Thakur, he even on Bhaktivinoda Thakur equally, many times on many occasions, they put themselves down. They use different analogies which share that how unqualified they are, how insufficient they are, how poor they are in terms of their devotion. But I was thinking and meditating on this for a while, and like, why did they do that? When we look up to them as a sort of a bulwarks of devotion, we look at them and they're pillars of spiritual practices. So let me give you this analogy which I was working on or observing. Maybe I heard it somewhere. Let's say when you're in the distance and you see a mountain, right? You can put your two fingers and say, this is how big is the mountain. But you're very, very far. And say, I'm bigger than the mountain because I can kind of grab the mountain between my two fingers. But as we coming closer and closer to the mountain, basically we start understanding how small we are, how insignificant we are, and how the mountain is majestic. And then we can say, well, I'm very small, I'm very insignificant, I'm very minute. So the humility of a devotee it's a factor of devotional progress. So the closer we are to God, the closer we are to Krishna, the more humble we become. So in one sense, Krishna wants to sort of boost us or give us a boost, like you capture the fame, you be the famous person, you do the Yuga Dharma, and you'll be glorified for that. But simultaneously, Krishna is the ability within us which allows us to perform this specific activity. So in this scenario, in this situation, the fight between Arjuna and the son of Drona was orchestrated in such a way that Krishna wanted to present two specific factors. That even if you're born in a family of Brahmana, highly elevated personalities, yet if you don't have the qualities, the abilities, and the attributes, and the humility and the character, also Krishna will withdraw certain power or certain blessings, certain shakti from your life. And in this specific case, the ability to remember or to learn how to withdraw the Brahmastra. And in the life of Arjuna, he shows that someone who's a Kshatriya, which on the Varnashram system is lower than the Brahmana, yet based on his character and the Supreme Lord, he conquered. He was the one who remembered. He was the one who understood the necessity of the moment and how to withdraw the Brahmastra. And in this way, kind of save the situation based on the instruction of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So it just shows that how even also Brahmanas, when I look at the translation by Prabhupada, it is said that the hymns, so even the Kshatriyas being very much trained in the recitations of mantras. Mantras are very, very powerful because of that sound vibration. In the past, they can sort of interact with the material nature in a certain specific way, either destructive or constructive. Constructive that's what Brahmanas used to use. So one of my sadhanas or one of my activities which I do on a regular basis is reciting mantras. So recently I downloaded all the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj in glorifications of Nrsingadev from the 7th canto. And when you recite these mantras, when you try to get the meter right and when you recite it in the right fashion, you actually feel purified. You feel how the atmosphere changes. One of my habits is reciting the Shinga Kavacha and Brahma Samhita and different prayers or different bhajans of the acharyas. And you can feel that how just by the transcendental sound vibration, the ethos, the akash, the atmosphere changes. That's why they say that wherever there's glorification of the Lord and his pastimes, his attributes and paraphernalias, the place becomes the place of pilgrimage. The real reason what changes to place of not being a place of pilgrimage to being a place of pilgrimage is sort of a dedication of a mental focus, but also speaking or reciting and kind of a changing the mood. It is said that when you have some, let's say, intruders in your house, in the sense of bhutas or subtle entities, what breaks the kash to forbidden them to enter this sort of a physical material realm as such is that you blow a conch shell, and blowing a conch shell sort of breaks the ether and not allows these entities to sort of roam around. So simultaneously, if you recite the prayers to the Supreme Lord, the ethos of the environment changes, becomes a spiritually surcharged place. So when we go out on the streets and we distribute books or we perform Harinam, then that place becomes purified. And even when you leave that place, when you don't chant anymore, there's a certain, you surcharge that place with a spiritual sound vibration. So hymns or reciting certain mantras and prayers is very, very important for practicing devotee or for a sadhaka. And we can see how Brahmanas and equally Kshatriya has been practicing this for very, very evident reasons. Okay, so I touch upon a few points. If there are any points or any questions or anything devotees would like to share, please do so now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Antaranga Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Wonderful class. I always get inspired. And you're such a young person, and what comes out through your sound vibration is very, very penetrating to the heart. And I was listening. You say that Guru Parampara is the thing which can take fearless. You become fearless. And you can see that when Srila Prabhupada was leaving his body, I don't think he really, I mean, the way he was translating the Srimad Bhagavatam, it can happen when you are really fearless of death. So you become fearless of death because he's such a pure devotee. And that's why he could do that. Otherwise, our normal people like us, when the death comes, we become, obscene, and I can really, look that what's going to be conditioned. But so these mantras also, you mentioned that it really surcharge the particles of the atmosphere, and it can elevate the consciousness of the house. It can elevate the consciousness of the atmosphere of the when we go out for Sankirtan. And I was listening to, I know I'm getting a bit longer. I was listening to Srila Prabhupada in America. One lecture was giving, one Indian person was kind of arguing with Srila Prabhupada about why you giving this knowledge to America and they done. He said, do you think it's just for the Hindu? Everybody has got this, because inside everybody is Krishna conscious. And that's why in this age is the Sankirtan movement is everybody has Krishna. Everybody is Krishna. Krishna is in everyone's hearts. We need to wake up that thing by doing the Sankirtan. Yeah. So, so how Srila Prabhupada help us to understand this. And now you are also in your lecture, you are trying to give us this knowledge. So it's really elevating. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for the very nice reflection. Thank you for bringing it so nicely to Prabhupada. Yes. Yeah, Prabhupada was a walking tirtha. Actually, yes. One of the translations of tirtha is a portal. It means a portal. It means a portal between material and spiritual. And these great devotees, because they carry Krishna within their heart, within their words, within their mind, within their intelligence, then themselves become a portal. And you made interesting point that in a verge of death, when Prabhupada was leaving this physical body, he was translating Bhagavatam. So that is also sort of a transmission. So if we want to become fearless, we can associate with a person who is fearless and then hope and beg. Fearlessness will transfer upon us. So by reading Srila Prabhupada's books, by Hare Krishna. Again, I apologize, just the internet is very, very, very weak. Hare Krishna. If there are any other points devotees would like to raise, anything else? Anything they found significant or any questions they have regarding this specific section of Bhagavatam? No? Okay. Okay, with that said, we can make it nice and sweet and short. Thank you for your kind association. Again, I apologize for the inconvenience of my internet connection. Thank you for your time, for allowing me to share something, some reflections of Srimad Bhagavatam. With your permission, I'll take your leave. We will take some rest. And yeah, tomorrow is another day. Friday is a very special day, disappearance of Srila Prabhupada from his physical body. Most likely went preaching somewhere else. So that's a very, very wonderful meditation for us to reflect on how Srila Prabhupada actually never left our lives. And today I was just reading that it was a statement by Prabhupada that you can personally associate with Guru by following his instructions. And that term, personally associate, you can personally associate with Srila Prabhupada by being a devotee, by practicing devotional service. And that's very reassuring, very reassuring. Even if you never met him in person, it's even more glorious that you've never been you haven't been attracted by his quote unquote personal association, being in the same room with him, but yet power of the Acharya is in his words, in his deeds, in the character, in the movement he created. And when I went to Vrindavan, I was just stunned how people from all around the globe are just there. They're there. People coming to Vrindavan. Prabhupada created a society, a civilization, if you like. So please take greatest advantage of this. Take advantage of this process. Chant Hare Krishna, read Bhagavatam as you do, and make other people fortunate as well. So thank you so much for your kind attention, and Hare Krishna, and hope to see you on Friday. Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Haribol.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Good night.
Hare Krishna.